I know what you're thinking. How could our lovable and helpful granny become the Ronin? One word. Neon. Don't let the name fool you. There's nothing noble about this place. This ain't your new Atlantis granny. Neon changes even the best people. You either adapt or go for a swim. Now let's recap what led Granny down this path of chaos. It all started when Granny and Sarah touch down to Neon and right away encounter someone in trouble. Neon security has a smuggler named Nashar at gunpoint. Granny has become addicted to helping people, and poor Nashar is in need. She waits patiently for that cry for help, but it doesn't come. Where's my juicy quest, Todd? She says to herself.
Must have the precious.
Hurry up, I can't wait. The elevator's coming. Ah, there it is. You really had me going, Todd. Remember the sprawling outdoor plazas of New Atlantis? Well, Neon is a total hellscape in comparison. It's a whole city crammed into tight corridors on a fishing platform. Neon is filled with people and their petty problems. It's an absolute nightmare for me and Sarah, but it's a dream come true for Granny. Unsurprisingly, we don't even get close to the jail before Neon's security starts blabbing about Frank. Sounds like he's got problems with vandals, so we better head over right away. We meet Frank and find out a punk named Warlord has vandalized his robot Styx.
Look at that graffiti they sprayed onto his chassis.
Granny can't stand that kind of disrespect, so she agrees to give this Warlord a talking to. We find the punk at Euphorica and demand he compensate Frank for what he's done.
Cyclops should be thanking me.
Words aren't getting through to this kid, so just like my granny would have done, it's time to give him a smack up the side of the head. Except for this is Neon, and he pulls a gun. Granny can't risk any innocents getting hurt, so she has to put him down. We head back to Frank and look him right in the eye and let him know what happened.
Fine by me. That delinquent little punk deserves it.
Granny's starting to learn that people don't value life in Neon. Granny's feeling down from what happened, but there's no time to reflect on it as she's late for her interview.
Her office is down the hallway to my left.
Still dwelling on what happened with Warlord, Granny doesn't pay attention to the directions from the receptionist. Naturally, she gets completely lost. Tell me in the comments how many of you went into that corner. This isn't the last time Granny did.
Her office is down the hallway to my left. Take another left at the conference room, follow it around to the right and up a small flight of stairs.
Granny finally makes it to her interview and somehow gets hired.
You're hired on a probationary
I'm gonna guess we were the
period.
only applicant.
Of course.
Her first task is to get some coffee for a meeting. Surely she can make it to Terra Brew down the street, right? Well, there's a problem. Neon is a cramped place and the streets are packed with quest dispensing security officers. Granny is for sure getting fired. She gave it a good run and got about halfway there, before her granny sense was tingling and it's time to talk to Tevin. Granny enters the Emporium, and I gotta say, this one hits hard. Here's a store filled with all sorts of overpriced junk, and Granny just stares in amazement. The exact same face my granny would make while holding me by the collar as I tried to escape. This is effectively a space flea market, which is utterly terrifying.
Are you sure you're in the right place?
I might be shaking, Sarah might be shaking in the corner, but there's no place Granny would rather be. Seems like Tevin's having some problems with some thugs damaging his goods. And although he's a total asshat, Granny would love to help. Granny doesn't know what's going on with kids in this town, but she's gonna sort this out. Granny's told to go to Frankie's Grab and Go, where we might be able to get some information about these thugs.
I told you, I don't know who Headlock is.
Granny must be getting rusty with her persuasion, because we have to use 500 credits to jog Frankie's memory. Frankie tells Granny that Headlock and his crew hang out over in Warehouse 4, so we go to pay him a visit. This guy's clearly bad news. He's already having a timeout in the corner.
And who do we have here? You here for business, or to get your head caved in?
This boy has serious issues with authority, but Granny manages to talk some sense into him. Compared to what happened to Warlord, this is 100% less murder.
But I see your point.
Headlock just might turn his life around thanks to Granny, so she gets Sarah to take a picture for her scrapbook of all those she's helped. Alright, back to business. Let's go tell Tevin the good news.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Bad part of town, buddy.
Scratch that, we get stopped by this guy. Gives Granny a warning about the Disciples. He tells Granny a rival gang named the Strikers is all washed up, and that's let the Disciples run wild.
Well, you'll find them at Madame Savage's.
Granny's a bit disappointed she'll have to wait to tell Tevin the good news, but she's gonna head to the Strikers and see if she can help. Don't worry, Sarah, we'll start the Constellation quest one day. We head into Madame Savage's and get some attitude from Andrea.
What are you looking at? This? This is Ebside Striker's turf.
She doesn't want to let us meet their boss Briggs, but Granny's strong with the Force, so the next part goes something like this.
So you stroll in here and want to meet with Briggs?
I must speak to Briggs.
Maybe you should meet with the business end of my shiv, huh, tourist?
You will take me to Briggs now.
You know, I'll just do that. Right now.
With that out of the way, we head upstairs to talk to Briggs. He gives us the tough guy speech, but Granny sees a sad, weak little boy and she wants to help him. We tell him we're a problem solver and he gives us a test to see if we can join the Strikers. We're asked to find out who's been arming the Disciples with military-grade hardware. Turns out they're not a bunch of churchgoers after all. Briggs really reminds Granny of someone, but she just can't put her finger on it.
What makes the Strikers different is we're family. If you're in, We'll go through hell and back for you.
Sarah gets a little upset with us, and honestly, I don't remember seeing my Granny join a gang, and that would be upsetting. But we have to trust Granny has a plan. Sarah's still pouting, so Granny promises not to kill anyone on this mission. In order to keep her promise, Granny studies up on stealth. The plan is sneak into this warehouse and get the slate to find out where the disciples get their weapons. Now, stealth is not usually a skill of the elderly. If they're being that quiet, you should probably check their pulse. Despite her knees cracking on every step, she somehow gets the slate without anyone noticing. Unfortunately, Sarah nearly ruins the mission, but we do make it out unnoticed and start heading back to Briggs. Oh my god, the googly eyes, what the hell? We nearly make it back to Briggs, but this guard shouts at us right through a loading screen, and now we need to help the local doctor. We head to Reliant Medical and speak to Doc Manning and find out that he's low on medical supplies. Turns out the top dog in Neon is a crook and rather keep the poor people of Neon hooked on drugs than let Doc Manning cure their addiction. We agree to smuggle some drugs in our ship and help him out. Granny knows the importance of prescription drugs. She has a pill organizer that looks like the periodic table. As Granny heads to her ship, she realizes it's been nearly a day since she was sent for coffee. But there's no time to dwell on that. The people of Neon are in need. Hey Sarah, you think there's a Terra brew at this clinic? We still haven't got that coffee. Luckily, she's still on probation at Ryujin and doesn't have a company phone, so nobody can get a hold of her anyway. Alright Granny, this is just an in and out, no making friends here. We head into the clinic and meet Abby. She's pretty cautious around security, as it turns out she's been more or less stealing the drugs. Granny knows they're doing some good work here, so she lets it slide. Sarah and I are worried about security too, but our concern is a chatty guard with a problem. Oh god, Sarah, there's a guard. Don't you dare give me a quest. By some miracle, we actually make it back to Neon.
You aren't looking well at all.
Despite being told we look like hell, we deliver the meds. Sarah's getting impatient, but Granny's not done here. Now we can finally go back to the strikers to show them the slate we stole from the disciples. Briggs is impressed, and Granny can tell he's really not all that bad. She knows she can have a good influence on him. Granny gets her very own gang outfit, and these shits make fun of Granny by giving her an O2 mask. Now we go to Hatchet to get our next task. We're gonna have to hack some signs to let Neon know the strikers are back, baby. Before she leaves, Granny sees a nice shiny sword and figures that might make a statement and keep people from messing with her. Before we even make it to the first sign, we get turned right around to talk to James Newell. Ah, damn it, Sarah, she got me. I had no idea Willem Dafoe was in this game, but I'd rather not upset the Green Goblin. So we're gonna help him out by uniting all the merchants and forcing them to stop paying security off to get ahead. Before we go, Granny realizes she's been wearing the same clothes for days, so she picks up a nice new outfit from Mrs. Green Goblin and heads on her way to see Seagard.
Okay, you've convinced me.
Now that she's dressed to impress, she has no problem convincing Seagard to stop paying security for protection.
Thanks for your help on this. The Merchants Alliance is finally united.
We settle up with James, and now we can go hack those signs. 1 down, 2 to go. The second sign's a piece of cake, but it looks like security's been tailing us.
What have we here?
Thankfully, that shiny sword does its job, and he backs off. I'm glad we didn't have to slice deeper into this issue. Unfortunately, things take a turn for the worse, as the disciples seem to be guarding the third sign. Now, Granny knows words are stronger than guns, but if you want to send a message, use a sword.
Guy killed me, Mel. He killed me with a sword. How weird is that?
Finally, we hack the third sign, and we can go back to the strikers, but on our way, we get word of a problem in the Astral Lounge. Of course there'd be a guard right outside, damn it. So, even though we're already here, we turn around and head to talk to Borealis. Turns out, she's the DJ at the Astral Lounge, and her slate's been stolen. The slate has Borealis' latest mods on it. Even though Granny has no idea what modding is, she wants to help. She wants to seem hip and cool around these kids, so she does some dancing and tries to crowd surf. Hey look Sarah, I'm crowd surfing, aww. Unfortunately, nobody catches her. Anywho, now we're headed back to Euphorica to see if we can get a lead on the missing slate. While we're there, Granny wants to make up for getting a little murdery here earlier, so she drops 5,000 credits on the VIP lounge and pays 1,500 for the info on the slate. Up in the VIP lounge, she buys some liquid courage and tries to talk up a silver stallion at the bar.
If you're hiring, I could really use the work.
But he comes on way too strong, so she has to bail. Jesus, Sarah, he wants to move in already. Let's get out of here. Okay, so apparently Borealis has a stalker superfan, and he stole the slate, and he's already in our turf at Madame Sauvage's. But you know how this goes by now. We get distracted by a security guard who isn't even looking at us. Someone named Clover over at Keltcorp needs Granny, so we head there right away. We head in to see Clover, and honestly, I don't know what the hell this is, but I guess she's having a bad day and cleaning her desk makes her feel better. Granny doesn't judge. Turns out she does have quite a mess on her hands, and it's not the kind you can wax on, wax off. But that won't stop Granny. After an entire conversation without ever making eye contact, Granny finds out that a man named Saburo owes money to Clover's father. It's money he doesn't have, and he's too proud to accept any from Clover.
Been on my mind so much I've been keeping a diary.
Granny tells Clover she'll handle it, but then Clover mentions a diary and Granny gets a little nosy, so we have to go take a look. Looks like Clover has a thing for Saburo. Interesting. If there's one thing you should never do, it's let your granny know you have a crush. Every granny thinks they're the best matchmaker ever, and this is no exception. Now, of course, Clover might die of embarrassment, but Granny marches right into Saburo's office and shows him the diary.
Oh, I did not know she felt this way.
With this hint, he agrees to be a gold digger and take the money.
That I accept her offer.
We go back to Clover and let her know she's bought herself a match, and we finally get a look at her now that she's calmed down.
That's fantastic.
Granny the Matchmaker. Totally nailed this one. After that happy ending, let's go confront a stalker.
This song's got me so zoned.
Granny doesn't have a clue what kids are saying these days, so she goes with the default senior citizen response of "get a job, you bum." Granny ends up persuading him to give back the slate, which is lucky for him, or else Granny would have had to
Beats the piss out of my brain.
Alright, finally, let's get this slate back to Borealis. Wait, never mind. Only a few steps from the Astral Lounge, we get another quest to talk to Catherine. Find poor Catherine down in the neon underbelly. Turns out Catherine's looking for some closure after her husband died. And she's not buying the story that security gave her about her husband having a heart attack. Knowing what Granny knows about neon security, she tends to agree.
The truth is all I've ever wanted. I suppose the proper place to start would be with Neon Security's witness, Tevin Anastas, that pompous ass over at the Emporium in Neon.
Catherine tells Granny that Tevin was a witness, so it's back to see that asshat.
Oh my god, enough! I'll tell you what I know.
Granny puts a bit of pressure on him and he admits he saw the murder. Turns out her husband was thrown into the ocean. Tevin was threatened to cover it up, but he thinks the perp's name's Rusty, so we have a lead to go on. We talk to Rusty and find out it was an accident, but he had his friend in security cover it up. Although we'd love to throw him in the ocean, we try to avoid further bloodshed and we let him go.
Oh my god. You don't need to worry. No one will ever see me again. I swear it.
Catherine wants answers, not revenge.
Thank you for everything.
After bringing closure to Catherine, her and Granny become great friends. And Granny gets Sarah to take another picture for the scrapbook. Maybe now we can finally go back to Borealis. Or maybe not, because it looks like our buddy Saburo's in trouble. Oh geez, he better not already have trouble with the missus. We check in with Saburo, and it seems he wants to cross-promote with other vendors to boost business. Granny's owed more than a few favors from everyone in town at this point, so this shouldn't be too hard. Now, despite being the future, this game doesn't seem to have Zoom calls in it. So to save you all the running around, I've gone and set one up. Seagart's in. Tevin's a yes. That's a no from Frank.
Thanks for bringing
Green Goblin's a go.
It's a nice gesture.
Oh, Green Goblin, mute your mic. Mika's a no. Of course Bestie's in. Frankie's out. And our new friend Monera's in.
Couldn't hurt.
With enough on board to launch Saburo's plan, we let him know the good news.
Thank you for taking the time to do.
Alright, enough messing around. We finally get the slate back to Borealis and get Sarah to snap a picture because Granny's kind of famous and Borealis might want to put it on her wall. After a long string of distractions, we finally make it back to Briggs and it looks like we're gonna have a good old-fashioned gang war.
Gang fights are no holds barred, so make your peace with it.
Sarah's so upset she talks to us from behind a wall, but there's no going back now. At least have the guts to say it to my face, Sarah. First, we need to get some armor from the Green Goblin.
All these gangs are a menace. I don't want to have any part of it.
He's reluctant at first, but Granny convinces him it's for the greater good. Now, of course, Granny has to haggle, so she gets a nice discount.
Fine. You can have your discount if you just stop your yapping.
Nobody can handle Granny's yapping. Now that we got the armor, Granny takes one last chance for diplomacy and tries to broker a truce with the Disciples' leader, Holt. He tries to buy her off, but Granny won't accept no blood money, and things get a little violent. Oh shit, Sarah, run! Granny forgets you shouldn't run with sharp objects and takes a spill. But it's the future and Doc Manning owes her one, so she's back up and running in no time. And this time Granny's had enough with words, so she sets things off with a bang. Granny totally whiffs the first throw, but that's why you always have a backup grenade. Now you see what Granny is becoming. We meet up with the rest of the strikers and get ready for the final showdown with the Disciples. They're held up in Warehouse 3, so we bust on in, and to my surprise, the whole team seems to have wall hacks but me. God, you're a bunch of cheaters. We clear out the Disciples easy enough, but then security crashes the party.
Playtime is over. Downstairs, now.
Granny brokers a deal where the security forces will look the other way if the strikers agree to join them.
It looks like the strikers are retiring.
And with that, Granny says goodbye to the strikers, but she still has work to do here on Neon. We didn't have a chance to tell him on the Zoom call, so we go back and tell Tevin we dealt with Headlock.
Thank you for your help.
Okay, after some quick math, we determined that our coffee run has taken about 2.5 hours of game time. Every minute in real life is 20 minutes in Starfield, so we're about 50 hours late for this coffee run. We head straight to the Terra Brew, but of course this isn't going to be easy.
What happened to Tomo? Did he finally get that promotion?
I got fired is what happened.
I guess we got a guy named Tomo fired, and honestly Granny has no time for this shit. I don't even know who you are anymore, Granny. Okay, coffee in hand, we're almost there, let's get this delivered. Never mind, someone needs help at the Astral Lounge. Oh my god, now this coffee's gonna be cold. We meet Mania Adams and she needs us to clean up some dirty laundry or something. Granny really doesn't care at this point as long as she's helping someone, so she agrees. Turns out the dirty laundry was a murder weapon and she wants us to fence it to the trade authority. We sell the weapon, Sarah's pissed, the coffee's getting cold, nothing's going our way, so it's all really gone to hell for Granny and she just wants this day to end.
Cheers.
With that, we finally head back to Ryujin, where we're certain to be fired. And just like before, we have no idea where the hell we're going. Oh my god, I can't believe I did that again. Finally head in to deliver the coffee, and our boss tells us we can't be so distracted. I guess she has no idea who Granny is.
Either need to learn
this city or how to deal with distractions.
We tell her what happened with Tomo, and in this company, murder gets you promotions.
So, congratulations. You've been promoted.
So now we're a junior operative and we need to go meet the rest of the staff. Oh god, hopefully the job description doesn't require an understanding of sliding doors. Granny's so excited she goes a little crazy and jumps on the table, but no one seems to mind. They're mostly nice and they tell Granny she better be ready for the work that's cut out for her.
People in your position don't typically see the brighter side of Ryujin Industries.
After that, we get our first mission, go into Kelt Corp and hack their computers.
Here's the data slate. Good luck.
After all the work Granny's done, the streets are pretty quiet, but we still don't make it to Kelt Corp before another distraction comes up.
Hamza kept pestering me about his damn missing slate.
Someone named Hamza has lost his slate, and it turns out he's a colleague of ours, so we definitely should help him out. We turn around and march right back to Ryujin Tower. Hamza's kinda rude, and we're not sure why he can't find the slate on his own, but Granny agrees to help him anyway. We get sent to the underbelly to talk to a panhandler who might know where the slate is.
Discarded items are her specialty.
We find Hyung, and she's a lovely young lady. We give her some money and discover she has the slate. Since Hamza's an ass, we tell her to keep it and just wipe the data.
Tell your pal at Ryujin, all his weird corporate secrets are safe.
In this case, everybody wins.
That is actually an acceptable outcome.
Now it's time to head to Kelt Corp, and this time we have to be stealthy. Luckily, we've already helped Clover, and she probably just assumes Granny has a bad back. Nothing to see here. Regardless, we make it to the computer undetected and upload the files. At this point, it dawns on Granny. In all her attempts to help people, has she actually been hurting them? In her short time in Neon, she's witnessed theft, vandalism, corruption, sabotage, and even murder, and now she's become a part of it. She's so upset she's gonna go back and talk to her boss because this just isn't working out. The talk with her boss got pretty emotional, so I've summarized it for you.
I'm going to be honest with you. I hate this place. I must get out of here.
To Granny's surprise, her boss takes it pretty well and decides to just send her off-world for her next assignment.
Now, get going.
So there you have it. You've witnessed Granny's slow descent into chaos, and one can only hope that getting out of Neon will free her from this curse. Next stop, Aquila City, but probably not right away. You know how it is. Thanks for watching, and once again, if you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and a comment, as I really appreciate it. Bye for now. Hey Sarah, I think we need a vacation.